Hey guys, what I do? It's your boy Supreme Uchiha the God, and today we're talking about Aokoji or Kuzan, whatever you prefer. And we're just gonna talk about why he's such an interesting and phenomenal character because he's one of those guys that's like you almost wondering why is he making certain decisions like, and you never fully get the answers. I mean, you can, obviously speculate, which is the beauty of One Piece. There's a lot of speculation space, which I think is, I think good stories should have a lot of room for speculation and room for interpretation. And I think One Piece does that quite well by because it's quite vague sometimes, and there's so many characters that are just kind of left do small things that are impactful, and then you kind of wonder like, okay, but why did they do that? And Kuzan for me is one of the most interesting. So obviously, he was initially an admiral as a kaiji. He's a man whose presence in the story has left an a very like unique and deep mark. Even though his motivations and decisions remain quite elusive, his role, although often indirect, is crucial in shaping the events that allow the Straw Hat Pirates to continue the journey. His decision to let Nico Robin live as a child, a moment, if you ask me, of mercy that contradicted the absolute justice of the Marines. It's a pivotal point in his character development. This act of defiance against a system that demanded her death set the stage for Robin's eventual role within the Straw Hats and, of course, by extension, the continued survival of Luffy's crew. Because remember, a long place, that place, he could have murked all of them there, but decided not to because these people were so earnest to protect, Robin that they were willing to die right there and then defending her. And he felt, wow, if these people are willing to die for her, maybe I should keep an eye on her for longer rather than just eliminate them all. And he knew these guys are pirates, but he was more interested in seeing if he made the right decision by saving Robin, which is quite a weird almost thing to have. But I suppose in a way it's almost like, I gave you life, I gave you wings, and I want to see you to see you shine in a positive light because that's the reason why I let you go. I did not want to demonize you for the knowledge that you knew before you had the opportunity to utilize that knowledge. As well, you were a child. How could you know any better? Right? And that's one thing I love about Kuzan. That decision alone makes him so profound, right? It can be argued that without Kuzan's intervention, Robin's knowledge and capabilities, which obviously is massively needed by the Straw Hats would have way less of a chance of ever discovering the One Piece. Kuzan's choice to spare Robin isn't just about saving a life. It reflects his deep internal conflict with the Marine system. Despite being one of the highest ranking officers, Kuzan's sense of justice differed from the rigid, brutal vision held by many of his peers. His personal code seemed to lean more towards moral relativity, a sense of justice that recognizes the complexity of human actions and intentions. Psychologically, this creates a fascinating dynamic within him, a man who can enforce order with absolute power, yet feels constrained by the moral limitations of the institution he once served. His decision to let Robin live can be seen as a fracture point where Kuzan's individual sense of justice began to diverge drastically from the Marines' doctrine. And we're going to get to why that matters so much and when it completely just fell apart. This internal divide would later lead him to make the monumental decision to leave the Marines after his duel with Akaino, who represents a far more rigid and merciless view of justice, one that he simply could not accept. The battle between Kuzan and Akaino, fought over the leadership of the Marines, was more than just a clash of two formidable powers. It was a battle of ideals, one where Kuzan, driven by his disillusionment with the Marine system, fought to prevent Akaino's vision from defining the future of the organization. He was already in a position where he felt like the place was fractured. Right? Garp even said, yo, we have to make sure Kuzan makes it as the admiral. We can't let Akaino, a man like that, reach the top. Because they knew Akaino's way of doing things was just so vicious, so raw. It's almost like he was one of the goddamn celestial dragons himself by how he be acting and moving. But Kuzan just could not accept that because things like the Buster Call, all of these things that he could kind of see a sense of, okay, these people know secrets of a weapon. Sorry, this language and knowledge allows people to unleash a weapon that could destroy the world. So of course, us, shutting it down, even by force, makes some kind of moral logical sense in his brain. But Akaino, He was like, "Yo, this is too much, man. This man is too evil for me." And they grew up basically. They rose up at around the same time. Um, Now he fought to go against division that he saw that was just too evil. Kuzan knew what a Kaino-led Marine force would mean. Totalitarian enforcement of an unforgiving, violent order. For Kuzan, fighting a Kaino was not just about leadership. It was about preventing an oppressive future where people like Robin or even entire nations would be eradicated under the guise of justice. Sociologically, Kuzan's decision to leave the Marines after his loss reflects a broader theme of disenchantment with institutions. His experience symbolizes the struggle of an individual who, after years of dedicated service, comes to realize that the institution he once believed in no longer aligns with his personal values. This is not just a reflection of Kuzan's personal journey, but also a commentary on the moral complexities that individuals in positions of power face when they become aware of the flaws in the very goddamn system that they try to uphold. Kuzan's departure is significant because it represents not a loss of faith in the idea of justice, but a refusal, a fuck. I was going to curse, but I shouldn't. A rigid refusal to compromise his own sense of right and wrong for the sake of a corrupt system. Kuzan's mysterious affiliations, post-marine life only add to the enigma of his character. Him seemingly joining the Blackbeard pirates, Kuzan's actions have become increasingly difficult to interpret. His battle against his former mentor, Garp, it's a clear example of this ambiguity. Like, damn, during the confrontation, Kuzan appears hesitant, displaying a reluctance that suggests he's not fully committed to his current path. And also, why Blackbeard? Blackbeard seems more evil than Kuzan. What is going on? Why did he choose Blackbeard? Is it because Blackbeard will dismantle the whole world system and he thought, I want to be on that side. At least I can contain the chaos by some degree. At least Akaino will be put down. What is the meaning behind this man's actions? His hesitation during the fight hints at the deep emotional conflict within him. Despite his outward alignment with the Blackbeard pirate, it is somewhat evident that Kuzan has not abandoned his own moral compass. His internal struggle with the idea of fighting Garp, a figure who likely shaped much of his worldview, showcases the emotional and psychological turmoil he experiences as he navigates his new reality. Kuzan's character is one deeply influenced by the people around him, mentors like Garp, peers like Akaino, and even the individuals he has spared, such as Robin. His decision reflect the complexities of a man torn between loyalty to his former comrades and a desire to forge a path that aligns with his own values. Psychologically, Kuzan's actions can be understood as those of someone grappling with cognitive dissonance, the mental discomfort that arises when one's actions do not align with their beliefs. His past as an admiral forces him into a situation where he must choose between duty and his own conscience, often leading him to make decisions that leave others questioning his true motives. In many ways, Kuzan's departure from the Marines symbolizes his rejection of the binary view of good and evil that organizations like the world government often perpetuate. And remember, still, this man came through and saved Smoker and said to the Doflamingo, don't harm my brother. That's my friend. Leave him be. So it's like, huh? And he does these random acts and you're like, so is he good or not? He's a man who understands that the world operates in shades of gray, and his actions reflect this understanding. However, his role in the story remains shrouded in darkness, in an array of like, what the hell is going on? Because he refuses to fully align himself with any particular ideology or group. He exists in a moral limbo, a rogue element whose true intentions remain hidden, even from those closest to him. Kuzan, and when there's not many close to him, as we can tell, because he's been a lone wolf since we met him. So who the hell does he confide in if it's not Garp anymore? If it is not Akaino, since they seem to have been in good terms, but they're not, right? If it is not none of these guys, who the hell does he have? Maybe perhaps that is the problem. Maybe he has always been alone or stuck in power and in his own mind, uncertain of anything. But perhaps now he is, because he chose the route of Blackbeard. Now, whether he's working undercover for a greater cause or simply acting according to his own code, Kuzan's journey is one of constant evolution. His decision to let Robin live, to challenge Akaino, and to hesitate against Garp all point to a man who's deeply aware of the consequences of his actions. In the end, Kuzan's ultimate role may be that of a balancing force, one who acts in the shadows to ensure that justice in its truest form is upheld, even if that means standing against both his former allies and current companions. The psychological and sociological layers of Kuzan character offer a deep well of complexity, making him one of the most compelling figures in the story. His sense of justice, shaped by a life of service and personal reflection, sets him apart from the rigid figures of authority he once stood beside. As the story continues to unfold, it is likely that Kuzan will remain an enigma. His motivations known only to himself, but his impact in the world around him undeniably profound. You see, Kuzan. This video is about the moral conflict of a Marine. A very powerful one indeed. Anyway, it's been your boy Supreme God. Man, usually level